They are ready for football in Oxford in what could be the most anticipated season the Grove has ever seen. Ole Miss begins a new year as the number 6 team in the nation. That is the highest preseason ranking for this football team since 1970 when Archie Manning was the quarterback. They're ready to kick off against the Furman Paladins. You can feel the buzz in this stadium to start the season, and for good reason. Rocky Boyman, Jay Alter with you. We'll be joined by Ashley Stroline on the sideline in just a moment. Rocky, you take a look at this Ole Miss team, an 11-win season for the first time in program history last year. And yet this season, the expectations even greater, and for good reason, because on paper, this team got even better.
Well, 11 wins, but yeah, this roster still wasn't good enough to compete with the big boys. And it was after that 52-17 loss to Georgia last year, Lane Kiffin very famously said, we need better players. So he goes into the portal, 24 new players, all with college football experience. And in fact, 5 of the top 60 ranked portal players now play for Ole Miss. By all accounts, this is a very dangerous roster right now.
And all eyes on that defensive front anchored by Walter Nolan. Let's check in on the sideline with Ashley.
Well, to help add size, experience, and depth to the trenches, Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin went to the transfer portal, bringing in 4 offensive linemen, 2 of which played for Washington in last year's national championship. As for the team's top transfer, defensive lineman Walter Nolan, well, he's been so impactful per his teammates and coaches since he transferred here from Texas A&M that defensive coordinator Pete Golding is comparing him to former Alabama player and New York Jets star Quentin Williams. Today, we're finally getting a look at how all of these new pieces fit into Kiffin's puzzle. And guys, I have to tell you, speaking of the trenches, it's electric down here on the sidelines.
Lane Kiffin ready to go for Ole Miss. On the Furman sideline, Clay Hendricks. What a job he's done as the head coach of Furman. Back-to-back 10-win seasons. But this will be tough sledding to start the 2024 campaign here in Oxford. Furman won the toss, decided to defer, so the Rebels in blue and white ready to receive. And we are underway in Oxford. A brand new season, maybe the most expectations this program has ever had, and they've got the quarterback capable of handling it. Take a look at this. The leadership in his 3rd season as a starting quarterback. Rocky saying, yeah, we've got a lot of talent, but that doesn't mean anything. We've got to go out on the field and prove it.
Jay, it all looks good on paper, right? But it comes to proving it on that football field. They have a lot of high expectations, as you mentioned. They're ready to unleash that great roster here tonight.
And it's Henry Parrish Jr. who starts in the backfield with Dart on his left hip. Play action. Dart, pressure coming, steps up. Good pressure from Furman. Maurice Perkins with the stop. This is a Paladins team. We've talked a lot of Ole Miss, and for good reason. They're the number 6 team in the country, but Jackson Dart coming into his 3rd season as the Rebels starting quarterback. It's a disciplined Furman defense. Now, obviously, athletically, Furman's going to be overpowered today as Caden Lee moves the sticks.
And you mentioned it, 3 years in this system under Lane Kiffin, Jackson Dart. That's an anomaly in college football. So many of these quarterbacks in the portal, 1 year here, 3 years here. He's ready to take the next step.
Right up the middle, Henry Parrish Jr. tripped up, transfer from Miami. This is going to be running back by committee, Rocky.
It is. One of the portal exits was Quinshaw Judkins, who was a phenomenal running back. So we're going to see 3 guys that hopefully combined together can make up the production of Judkins.
Here's Dart. Clean pocket, throws right on the money. It's caught. Caden Prescorn, the tight end, left wide open for a gain of 25.
It's always a good idea, Jay. Go to your 6'6", 255-pound tight end. Great patience, good pocket. We're already seeing the fruits of that offensive line. Gave a great pocket to Dart there. He was able to deliver the ball.
First and 10 from the 35. Dart throws right over the middle. It's caught. Another first down. It's Trey Harris. One of the top receivers in the SEC. You'll hear his name early and often this year.
He was one of the top receivers, but the coaches yesterday told us, Jay, he's maybe better this year. Really improved as a route runner, looser. They're ready for a big year from him.
Already into the red zone. Parrish Jr. rumbles forward. Gain of 2.
And Jay, that offensive line is what's really been raved about. Last year, they thought they had 5 guys, didn't have much depth. They didn't have that 6th guy. Now they feel like they go 6, 7, 8 deep and can rotate that offensive line and not have any drop-off.
Bentley gets the toss, his first carry of the season, and it's read well by Furman. Paladin showing something in the run defense. They've been hurt through the air, though.
Yeah, well, they know that Lane Kiffin, as much as he likes to throw the ball around the park, he wants to establish that run. They're trying to take that away early. See those linebackers up in those gaps. Here we go. Dart's going to change the play, showing his experience here.
Third and 8. Dart looks left. Gonna tuck and run. Showing off the speed. Jackson Dart dives in. Touchdown, Ole Miss. Jackson Dart opens the scoring in what Ole Miss fans hope is the first of many touchdowns in a special season, and dunks the football, or to the basketball over on the sideline.
And that's the talked about part of Jackson Dart's game. He had 8 rushing touchdowns last year, adds 1 here early in this season.
Ole Miss opens the season in 8 plays, 75-yard drive, in a little more than 3 minutes, Rocky. They look good doing it.
It was great balance, but a lot of the chunk yardage came from the pass game. Came from the pass game, you know, finding the tight end, spreading the ball around early on in that drive. And this was the first big chunk yardage play, hitting Caden Prescorn on the crossing route. And then going to Trey Harris. Nice job making a couple guys miss, getting some extra yards after the catch. And then from there, Jackson Dart drops back, saw a wide open lane, very smartly tucks that ball, shows the speed, touchdown. Dart 3 for 3, 54 yards, and then that 15-yard touchdown run.
Well, how rare is it in college football that Lane Kiffin, any head coach, would get a quarterback in the same system for a 3rd season?
It just doesn't happen anymore. I mean, there's so many of these guys, as good as they are, as highly rated as they are, they're jumping here, jumping there. And look, how do you get better at anything in life? You do it over and over and over again. And if you can do it in the same system, that's what creates greatness.
Here comes Carson Jones, and the Furman offense going to be a tall task going against this Ole Miss defense today, Rocky.
Yeah, and Carson Jones replacing Tyler Huff, who was a long-time starter for the Paladins. Carson, more of a pocket guy. He was actually the SoCon Freshman of the Year last year, played in 6 games, 2 starts. Coach Hendricks really liked what he can bring to this team. He thought they needed to be able to stretch the field more. Last year they ran the ball really well. This year they want to stretch that field a little bit more.
Sophomore out of Maryville, Tennessee, starting the 2024 campaign on the road against the number 6 team in the nation. Everyone's heard all offseason, this is a bolstered Rebels defense. Now you get to see it for the first time. Walter Nolan, you want to keep an eye on number 2 in blue. We've heard special. You know, Pete Goldie, defensive coordinator, said reminds him of Quinnen Williams when he was at Alabama. That is high praise.
And that means elite size and elite quickness, Jay. That guy can move sideline to sideline.
Shows it off right on cue. That defensive front, the most improved unit for this Rebels team.
And here you see right away just a disruption. Look at the quick get off there. shoving that offensive line back into the backfield. The runner can't get anywhere. J.J. Pagese also in on that defensive line. Those are two great defensive tackles, Pagese and Nolan.
Here's pinned back on a 3rd and 15. Jones fires. It's caught. Great execution for Furman on a 3rd and 15 to pick out Josh Harris and keep the drive alive, and a flag comes in right at the spot of the tackle.
Great job by Jones. And look at that route. Looked like it was a 2-deep route, cover 2, and he fit that ball in front of the safety behind the corner. That's how you draw it up.
Mask on the offense, number 2.
Wow.
15-yard penalty, first down.
A backbreaker for Furman. It would have gone for 39 yards. Instead, they mark it off 15 from the end of the play.
Everybody keep your eye on number 2, Joshua Harris, for Furman. He's their best wide receiver. But yeah, just right at the end there, and it's that last little pull out of bounds after the whistle. It's going to draw the flag there. But number 2, Joshua Harris, he's the guy Ole Miss knows they got to stop in this pass game.
Still a fresh set of downs because the penalty was marked off after they picked it up. J.J. Pagese, his second stop on this drive.
Pagese at 330 looks nimble out there, Jay. Look at that guy. And again, this, Ole Miss, as good as that season was last year, you're going to compete against Georgia, Alabama. It all comes down to those dudes in the trenches, and they think they've really upgraded that.
Quick hitter. It's caught. Colton Hinton with the grab and a gain of 10.
And Furman doing a good job right now getting that ball out of their hands quick. They know that pass rush is coming. They know this upgraded defensive line is really going to try to get after them. So good job by Jones getting the ball out.
And this is a back-to-back 10-win Furman program. They were in the FCS playoffs a year ago, lost to Montana in overtime. So they come in with some confidence. Jones going to take a deep shot. Good contested ball. Trey Amos, the transfer from Alabama, to deny what could have been a touchdown for Harris.
And it was well played by Trey Amos. He's a fantastic athlete. Pete Golding, defensive coordinator, yesterday raved about him to us. Says he's a combination of Terrion Arnold and Kool-Aid McKinstry, just in the talent level out there. And I think we saw it right there, tracking that ball in the air, knocking it down.
How about Furman, unafraid, going against the number 6 team in the country, taking some shots through the air. The false start here will back him up to 2nd and 15.
False start on the offense, number 79. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it remains 2nd down.
And it looked like Ole Miss wasn't going to be satisfied to just rush 4 there. They're going to bring some pressure. Kyrie Coleman, the linebacker, jumped up in that gap and caused Ryan Lamb to jump off sides.
Well, Jones has been not shy to let it fly, the sophomore quarterback, on a 2nd and 15. Hit as he threw. Off the edge, Princely Umanmielen, the transfer from Florida. 1 in blue. He gets off quick, doesn't he, Rob?
He does. You'll see on the left side of your screen here, the Florida transfer. Look at the speed rush, the dip, and the rip. And that's just pure athleticism off a 255-pound guy. And they think he's going to be a menace this year for SEC quarterbacks.
And fittingly, it was Walter Nolan who got a piece of it. So quite literally a 1-2 punch, because those are the jersey numbers.
That's why you're the best in the business right there.
3rd and 15. They picked up a 3rd and 15 to keep this drive alive earlier. Here's pinned back, design screen. Flip to Grant Robinson, who's wrestled out of bounds. And even though the ball's at the 45-yard line, because this is a 4th and 10, Rocky, you probably have to punt it away.
I think you do with being a 4th and 10. If this was without the penalty, maybe a 4th and 5 you consider, but yeah, they're going to kick this ball.
It's so tough, though, to play the field position game against an Ole Miss offense that can go 95 yards in 3 minutes.
Well, I mean, the game against a team, an SEC team, a loaded team, is to keep their offense off the field, sustain drives, and So it makes it tough when you're forced to punt.
Ian Williams trying to get some good hang time on this. Micah Davis steps up, calls for the fair catch. And that's where Jackson Dart and the 6th-ranked Ole Miss Rebels will take over on offense when we get back.
ISO.
Nothing but net. A little off-season basketball for Lane Kiffin's Ole Miss team. And speaking with now the head coach in his 5th season here at Oxford, he told us you have to find times to strike the balance of having fun and keeping it light. Obviously, so many expectations on these kids, even more so with that number 6 next to Ole Miss. But really makes a targeted effort to keep the joy in the building. And they've got plenty of joy on the field. Caden Lee, a gain of 28 to start the drive.
Picked up a great block there by Henry Parrish Jr. Maybe we'll get to come back to it, but stepped up in the pocket and blocked Maurice Perkins, and able Dart to get the ball off.
Dart has all day, dials up the deep ball, it's caught! Juice Wells, touchdown! The South Carolina transfer's first catch in an Ole Miss uniform goes for a 61-yard score.
I'll tell you what, Jay, we talked about, are the portal additions going to help this roster? Well, so far, Mumiel and Nolan on defense, now Juice Wells on offense, all making huge plays early. This crowd, this fan base has got to be fired up about the potential of this team.
A foot injury held him to just 3 games last year for the Gamecocks. He stays in the SEC. What a start for Jackson Dart. 5 for 5, 144 yards. A passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown. And Ole Miss, what a start to this season. 14-0 early. Lane Kiffin, known for that quick strike offense. That's on full display to start the 2024 season. 2-play, 90-yard drive.
Yeah, the first pass was to Caden Lee, who coaches have raved about in camp. Nice job on the corner route. And he picked up a nice block to Jackson Dart by Henry Parrish right there. Able to step into that throw. And then from there, how about this? Just the pure, unadulterated speed. Juice Wells down the middle, ball on the money, touchdown.
Not too many teams in the country could go 90 yards in 36 seconds. They do it in just 2 plays. Great start for number 6 Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin here in Oxford. You never know how a team is going to come out and play, Rocky. And for the Rebels, this is uncharted territory. You've never had an 11-win season in program history. You follow it up by adding even more talent. You have Lane Kiffin as your head coach. Expanded playoff just puts Ole Miss at the top of every conversation, and they've come out, played very loose. They've looked good.
Well, yeah, everything you said, plus the expectations never high, as we've been talking about. A lot of people have seen the great players they've picked up in the portal and say, hey, we're expecting a lot here. And so far early in this ball game, I think the key part is we're seeing the production from those pieces that have been added.
And we showed you them playing basketball in the offseason and the fun that Lane Kiffin has incorporated in this program. He's having the most fun he's ever had in his long coaching career as well.
You got to have fun. This game is tough. It's hard. You got to enjoy the little moments. You got to enjoy the wins, or else it'll just beat you down.
Walter Nolan, number 2 in blue. You cannot miss him. Explodes off that line, showing why he was one of the most highly touted defensive linemen coming out of high school. 5-star.
Talked to the weight coach yesterday, Nick Savage. 7 plates on each side of the bar on the squat. The guy can lift it up.
Batted ball, it's intercepted. Flag comes in, Trey Amos picked it off. He's really popped too. Another transfer that is delivered for Ole Miss in this opening quarter. There is a flag down, but as it stands, Rebels interception.
And we were talking about him on the field when we watched him before the game warming up. We're like, that's what a top SEC corner looks like. 6'1", 190. Looks like a thoroughbred out there, and we're seeing it already.
Following the change of team possession, illegal block in the back on the intercepting team number 8. 10-yard penalty, first down.
The defensive coordinator, Pete Golding, told us yesterday he thinks Amos is a first-round pick at corner. He certainly looks the part early in this year.
Yeah, and just watch how he plays this thing. I mean, just blanket coverage. Right on the wide receiver, Joshua Harris's hip. And it looks effortless. You know, it's not like he's even looks like he's working hard out there. He just understands the route the receiver's going to run, and then the athleticism just pops.
Great starting field position for Jackson Dart and the Ole Miss offense. Not that they've needed it. Play action. Right on the money again. Trey Harris making it look easy on a gain of 8.
And I think the addition of Juice Wells, Jay, has really helped Trey Harris become better. He knows he's got to pick up his game. And just the competition, that's what this whole program is based on. All that basketball they're playing in the locker room and stuff, it's all centered around competition and pushing each other each day. It's helping this team.
Quick hitter out to the flat. It's Harris again. Enough for the first down. Yeah, he was in rarefied air a year ago. Only 6 SEC receivers had more than 900 yards. 4 of them were first-round picks. The other, Luther Burden, who's a stud at Missouri, and then Harris.
And we talk about Jackson Dart being third year in this system. That's only going to benefit guys like Trey Harris and Juice Wells.
Certainly good company to be in, and then to get the ability to bring him back, be in this offense, such a luxury. Pressure coming, Dart hit as he threw it to the end zone. Just out of the hands. And went back to Harris for a third time there.
And Furman
stays down.
Blitzed on that play, brought a couple linebackers right up the middle. We're able to get a little bit of pressure. Evan DiMaggio, Ulysses Bennett picked him up, but was still able to get in the face of Jackson Dart, forced a bad throw. There's Ulysses Bennett, but again, DiMaggio, a good job of just staying relentless to the quarterback. Just force that throw just a little bit off, that's all it took. Looks like Trey Harris is going to be okay. 6'3", 210, can run. Coach is talking again about how he's getting in and out of his breaks better, becoming a complete wide receiver this year.
It's a sophomore, Aiden Williams, into the game for Harris. They go with the running game. Bentley trying to push that pile. Sets up a third and manageable here for the Ole Miss offense.
This is it, third downs. That's what Charlie Weiss Jr. told us yesterday they wanted to get better at. And part of that is getting more manageable third downs, a pretty good one here.
Empty set, quick hitter to Bentley. Has the first down, spinning forward. Knocking on the door of the red zone again.
This Lane Kiffin offense does such a good job, Jay, of just stretching the field. You know, they make you guard every blade of grass, and once they spread you out, then they'll run that ball in the zone up the middle. There we go, now we're hitting this side.
Prescorn, his second grab of this opening quarter, goes for a gain of 6.
And Caden Prescorn, coaches talk, he's a true threat in the pass game now. Really adapted into this system. He's truly an Ole Miss Rebel at this point and looking for a big year.
Deflected at the line, should have been intercepted. DiMaggio had his hands on it after Dudek had the deflection at the line. That's exactly what you need if you're Furman, a takeaway in the red zone.
Yeah. For DiMaggio, ball's right there, just That would have been a huge play in the red zone.
3rd and 4. Parrish wrestled down short of the line. What do you do here, Rocky?
Go for it. Go for it here. All that money you got in that offensive line, run behind him and let's go.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin told us he loves this offensive line. They've got great depth. Play clock ticking down, and Lane Kiffin takes a timeout. Didn't have the right personnel on the field. And we'll take the timeout as well. Ole Miss 4th and 3 coming, already up 2 touchdowns. Trey Harris out of the injury tent, looks good, but won't go in on this critical 4th and 3. This is what you practice all offseason, Rocky, these unique packages.
And here we go. We got J.J. Pegues. You see the big defensive tackle in there, I assume in some sort of fullback role. Yeah, let's test your team out here. 4th and 2. Get behind that offensive line. Caden Prescorn, Daquan Wright, 2 tight ends, defensive tackle, fullback. Here we go.
And it's Pegues who gets the snap, rumbling forward. J.J. Pegues, the defensive tackle. You have to love it. All 325 pounds.
And big boys around the country are celebrating that play right there. And do it again.
Pegues
Nimble
makes a cut, dives. Did he break the plane? Yes. J.J. Pegues, all smiles for Ole Miss.
Jay, you talked a minute ago about Lane Kiffin, this team wanting to have fun. This whole locker room loves that thing. And look at the jump cut here by my big man. Jumping back around, falls forward, breaks the plane. I mean, that's something they'll show in film tomorrow, and every player, and he dunked it. Every player will be talking about that, hyped up. That's the stuff you love.
That's shades of William Perry, the fridge.
And look at, he changed hands with the ball. I mean, what's going on here? I mean, watch this. He has the ball in his right hand, then he jump cuts, whoop, puts the ball in his left hand, and then just drives a bunch of white jerseys and breaks the plane. That's unbelievable.
I figured, you know, Rocky, you're a former NFL guy. You like the fridge comparison.
Yeah,
big
absolutely.
defensive
That's
tackle
great.
comes in on
1985. The inspiration for that play.
J.J. Pegues. We've seen him make 2 tackles on defense and now a touchdown. You know, those unique packages,
yeah,
they come game time.
It does, and it just keeps the defense off balance. You know, they're already going lightning fast. They're spreading the field out, and they're bringing different packages in, different alignments. You know, as a defender, I'm a former linebacker. I'm one of those offensive guys that just stay in one place, all right, so I can get my cleats screwed into the ground. And here's this. You think he's going to line up at fullback. Instead, he takes the ball. Nice little cut. Driving his legs. And this is the impressive right arm, left arm, jump cut, power it in. And you can tell a guy like that, as big as he is, he played a little tailback as a youth. He's harkening back to his younger days. You say, I still got it.
Played high school football right here in Oxford. Special moment for J.J. Pegues, and when you score a touchdown, you get the basketball and you get to dunk it. Throw it down one-handed. It's J.J. Pegues' world. We're just living in it.
That's it. But now, you know, every time it's like 3rd and short on the goal line, he's going to be tapping Lane Kiffin on his head. Can I go in? Can I run the ball?
Now,
Might
hold
not
on
be
a
a bad
second.
idea.
He's normally out there next to Walter Nolan on the front four for Ole Miss. When you score a touchdown, Coach, I need a breather.
Need a breather. Oh, wow.
Furman tough sledding in this first quarter. It's gone Ole Miss's way, one-way traffic.
And just one more point about you put your D tackle in at running back. That's just one more thing the next opponent has to think about, has to practice against. They waste some time doing that. It's all part of the mind game.
Kilo Stone, who's in for Pegues. Good penetration there, and the run defense well-oiled to start the season for this Ole Miss front four.
And again, it wasn't just the additions of the talent on the D-line, it's the depth. Another thing you absolutely must have to compete against the Georgias and the Alabamas. It's a long game, a lot of big bodies out there. You got to be able to rotate guys and not have any drop-off. So far, it's looking good. Number one toward the bottom of your screen.
Jump there. Got back onside, though. Highly touted transfer, Princely Romani Allen from Florida with his ears pinned back on a 3rd and 6. The play clock expires. Delay of game.
Delay of game on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Commence 3rd down.
So a 3rd and 6 becomes 3rd and 11. That won't help a Furman offense that needs a lot of help against this Ole Miss defense.
Let's watch him move me Allen down that bottom hash there. Speed rush coming.
Design screen there. No room to run. The hard hit. So Taryn Perkins, the Mississippi native, shot out of a cannon there on the stop.
The speed, Jay, is just jumping off the field. At all levels, the defensive line, secondary. Nice little play of trying to set up a tunnel screen, but when you got guys that can outrun those offensive linemen that are coming out of the block, it shuts that thing down.
There's a flag down in the backfield on this punt. Ian Williams didn't get a good piece of it. There's actually 2 flags down. One at the 5-yard line, one at the 50. There's 2 flags down, so the officials just conferring to make sure they've cleaned this up correctly on the Furman punt.
So there's going to be offsetting penalties here.
I think Lane Kiffin's just trying to get clarification on if they have to redo the punt or not.
Okay.
Because the punt was mishit, he'd rather just take the field position, forgo the penalty.
There are 2 fouls on the play, one by each team. Illegal numbering on the kicking team. There were 2 number 11s in the game. That penalty is declined. During the return, holding on the receiving team number 3. That penalty will be enforced 10 yards. The receiving team will maintain possession of the ball, 1st down.
Let's check in down on the sidelines with Ashley.
Well, Jay, the Kiffin family dog Juice is a very important member of this Ole Miss football team. He does the Walk of Champions. He also does tea retrieval during home games, but as you can see, he actually suffered his own injury. He cut his leg open last week, had to get stitches, and he is here, though. He is supporting his team. He's on the sideline. I just went over and checked on him, gave him a little lovin'. He was very happy, excited for this week 1 game. He is bandaged up, and that bandage is, of course, in red and blue Ole Miss team colors.
I love it, Ashley. Great stuff.
Just like a good teammate. Even if you can't go, you still go on the sideline and support your teammates on the field.
Look at him. He's like, Coach, I'm ready to go in whenever you need me. Juice, very well loved around this program. Mascot, if you will.
So another short field for Jackson Dart and this Ole Miss offense to operate in. They start from the Furman 45. Impressive day for Dart so far. 171 yards and a passing touchdown to go along with a rushing touchdown. Steps up, makes another strong throw right on the money to Trey Harris, spinning his way through tacklers.
Man, that ball just jumps out of Jackson Dart's hand. It's always on the money. It's a big boy throw across the field. You can tell Furman doesn't want to get beat deep, so Dart says, hey, we'll just take that 5, 8, 10-yard pass underneath you.
Dart fakes the pitch, keeps it himself, and goes down easily.
And Coach talked about with Jackson Dart, you know, last year, you know, he really grasped the offensive system. This year, the progression was now can he recognize the defense? Can he recognize what all 22 players are doing on the field? That's his goal this year as he makes a race for the Heisman.
Play clock under 10. Dart inaudible at the line. Batted ball again. Harris did well just to knock it down. I think thought about going up one-handed and said, you know what, I don't want to risk an interception here.
I want to snatch that thing out of the sky here. Furman doing a good job of timing that release up. That was Dylan Cheeto knocking that ball up in the air.
2 for 3 on 3rd down tonight. Dart trying to pick this one up. Had a man and just missed him. Micah Davis on a crossing route. Ole Miss will have to settle for a field goal attempt here.
And the ball just a little bit behind Davis. Good job stepping up in the pocket. Just a little high, actually. He had nothing but space and opportunity. That ball had been on the money.
That could have been a touchdown.
Yep.
So this is Caden Davis. Charlie Pollock, the holder, to improve what has already been a very impressive opening quarter for Ole Miss. Davis from 42. And he hits it. Well, the only Ole Miss drive that has not resulted in a touchdown, and they still convert with a 42-yard field goal.
And I've been really impressed so far with Jackson Dart. And that last throw, really the only one he's missed. He comes into the season high expectations, and he started things off early. Nice deep crossing route. Let the route develop to Caden Prescorn. And a good job running. This is a part of his game you got to worry about too if you're a defensive coordinator. Got everyone locked up, and he can take off. That was a good job there to Caden Lee. And then hit Juice Wells on that seam route right down the pipe. And that's the thing with him. It's he can complete the short passes, the deep passes, the intermediate ones. 10 of 14, 192 yards. Touchdown, rushing touchdown. Off to a great start. And we asked Coach about Lane Kiffin about, you know, what makes a good quarterback develop into a great one? You know, all these kids around the country, they got the tools, they're 6'5", they're all this. He said it's it factor, right? Some guys just have it. You know, why is You know, Barry Bonds, a great baseball. He just has it. He just has that swing. You can't really put your finger on it. And at some point, all the coaching in the world, it comes down to having that it factor. And Jackson Dart has it.
Rocky, who's a guy you played with in the NFL that had that it factor?
There's a guy, I don't know if you heard him, Peyton Manning. he had a little bit of that. Smartest guy on the field, most talented guy on the field. And yeah, just God's gift, boom. Had it.
In Oxford, Mississippi, Peyton Manning,
yeah,
the least popular
That's
Manning.
Right. We'll talk about the other one, Eli, of course.
And there's Archie, the quarterback this team
What
in
a legacy they have
1970. Yeah, that was the highest ranked team before this number 6 team, that 1970 team that Archie Manning was the quarterback for. So it's been a long, long time since they had top 10 preseason rankings. Broken play. Furman almost fumbled it. Luckily out of bounds. Joshua Burrell on a gain of 36. That's what the Paladins have been searching for in this first quarter.
And what it was a wheel route, and it looked like it was it was TJ Daugherty just didn't catch up with his man there, got rubbed off a little bit and didn't hustle over and catch him. I feel like that's a play you're seeing a lot. Into the boundary, the wheel up the bottom of the numbers. Seeing that a lot in college football here so far.
Good pocket here. Jones lets it fly. Contested coverage. Knocked away. Colton hinted the intended target. Isaiah Hamilton did well to get in front of that one.
Nice job by Isaiah Hamilton. Another cornerback with length, 6'1", 175, long arms.
Jones has got a good arm. You know, FCS
Yeah.
quarterback. This is a Furman team that could go on and win 10 games. It's just tough sledding against the number 6 FBS program in the country.
Yeah, we talked about it at the beginning of the game. They like the fact that Carson Jones, they think, can stretch this field a little bit more and then allow that run game to sink in.
Now they have yet to establish that run game. An impressive first quarter for this new and improved front four, anchored by Walter Nolan. J.J. Pegues, not only has he done well defensively, he scored a touchdown as well. The thick 6 for number 38 in blue. A fun start in Oxford. The expectations are sky high, but Lane Kiffin's team, so far, so good.
The new 12-team college football playoff begins December 20th on ESPN.
A new era college football, the 12-team college football playoff kicks off December 20th and 21st. I'll tell you this, Rocky. Ole Miss fans, well, I'm sure they're hoping for the bye to be a top 4 seed, but if they are seeds 5, 6, 7, 8, they would get to host a playoff game in this stadium.
In the Grove.
Rock.
Wow.
You know, preseason number 6. So when you take a look at all those preseason mock college football playoffs, you got Ole Miss squarely in the field.
Well, yeah, you got to feel like the 12-team playoff benefits a team like Ole Miss because they seem to always kind of be right on that edge of making it, not making it, and certainly with the way they're starting things off, looking pretty good.
Well, they would have made it each of the last 2 seasons if it was that expanded 12. So a good a shot as ever. 4th and 9, good test for the Rebels defense.
They bring pressure here.
They send 5. Jones steps up, throws, miscommunication, and a turnover on downs.
Say what, Carson Jones is looking down the field, and his wide receivers are just not getting any separation. These DBs, he was trying to find Colton Hinton there, and no room. There's, as you mentioned, Jay, how close they were in a 12-team format would have been part of the conversation.
And then they go on to beat Penn State in the bowl game, so an 11-win season for the first time in program history. Tell you this, 10-11 wins with Ole Miss's schedule, that'll get you in the college football playoff this season.
I think that bowl game win over Penn State really kicked this thing off. Put up 500 yards of offense, 38 points, and that plus the portal additions really generated that hype.
Good strong run, shedding tacklers. Henry Parrish Jr., the transfer from Miami, a gain of 14.
Henry Parrish Jr., they talk about him being the best all-around guy. You know, great up the middle, great to the perimeter, great in the pass game. He's a weapon.
Dart in trouble. Down he goes. Flag comes out. First sack of the game for Furman belongs to Evan DiMaggio if it stands.
That was interesting. You wonder if the running back should have picked up DiMaggio. Instead, he swung to the outside.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense, number 39, grasping a helmet opening. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the previous spot, and it carries an automatic first down.
Feels like every big play for Furman immediately gets negated.
It was a nice job blitzing, delay, and it was the center, McIntyre, that didn't pick up DiMaggio, and just, he didn't get around the face mask. This guy around the back of the penalty, I guess. Could have lived without that one.
And DiMaggio, the great nephew of Joe DiMaggio. I'm surprised he's not wearing number 5 out there.
Come on.
Dart, bubble screen. This is Trey Harris.
Wow.
Tripped up at the 25-yard line.
And there we see it right there. Coach talked about how he's looser, and he's getting in and out of his break. Saw it right there. He gives a nice jab step to the inside, then the ability to pop right back out to the outside, reading the block. Those are just little things that mean extra yards throughout the season.
Knocking on the door of the red zone again.
You see these DBs are playing off these wide receivers. You see the respect they have for their speed. It was changing the play around. Jackson Dart in full command.
Dart makes a man miss and loses his footing. And Dart enters this year the only third quarterback in the last 25 years who's going to be a 3-year starter here at Ole Miss. Bo Wallace and Eli Manning, the others. So that's incredibly good company for Dart. He's certainly in the Heisman Trophy conversation as well nationally. So far, you have seen why. Play action, checks it down on 2nd and 13. Parrish Jr. falls forward to the 15-yard line, just shy of the first down.
And just little stuff like that. Every quarterback wants to push the ball down the field, but if it isn't there, some guys try to force it. Nope, I'll just dump it off my running back, let him do the rest. Just little things like that. Those decisions make great quarterbacks.
Ole Miss has played with great tempo on a 3rd and 1, right up the middle. Parrish Jr., he's looked good in his Ole Miss debut.
He really has. We talk about this being a 3-headed monster. Ole Miss has a running back, and right now it's Parrish doing a lot of the damage.
They go right back to him. Well read by the Furman defense.
And I think some of this, Jay, is practice of, hey, look, can we just nice zone play and just let our big bodies on the offensive line move people? Because we've got to be able to do that this year. I mean, those are some big boys on that offensive line. And you don't see bellies hanging over their pants or anything. Those are some big, well put together guys on that line.
Dart rolls right, flips it wide open for an easy touchdown. Daquan Wright. $30-0 Rebels. And we just started the 2nd quarter.
And there's just a lot of Ole Miss players getting involved, right? I mean, Henry Parrish with some nice runs. Of course, Trey Harris, Juice Wells, Caden Prescorn, now Daquan Wright.
Don't forget involved. J.J. Pegues.
Yeah, J.J. Pegues. That's right. How could I forget? It's just a nice job here. They've been running the ball so well. So when you run the ball, what works? Play action. Bring those linebackers off, dump it off. Perfect pass to Daquan Wright. And Ole Miss is rolling.
There was a quote from Jimmy Sexton or from you about Lane Kiffin.
I've never made a quote about Lane Kiffin, so it wasn't from me.
Ole Miss might go this year.
Ole Miss is going to be good. Ole Miss is going to look like a big-time program up front, which has always been their issue. They lost to us in Georgia last year because they couldn't match up front. Skill-wise, quarterback-wise, they can match up with anybody. Now they've recruited some guys through the portal to shore up the offensive line. They got a better defensive line. They're going to look like an SEC team up front, which is going to make them very dangerous. And I'm telling you, Lane is one of the best play callers in the country.
A high praise from Nick Saban, our new colleague. You should see why he's such a great head coach with that breakdown, Rocky, because that's exactly what we were saying coming into this game. That's what really pops, is the size and the talent they've added.
Nick Saban put the cheese on the cracker there, man. He laid it out, because this is what happened last year. Ole Miss playing well in this game, but just Georgia wore them down. Offensive line, especially the defensive line, is just hard. Just go against that sledgehammer play after play, unless you have dudes, unless you have not just dudes, but depth. So that's why they go in the portal, they get these guys, and a lot of them, the ones they brought in, Jay, and Pete Golding, the D coordinator, pointed this out, they're all SEC guys, so they're used to big environments. It's not going to be a stage too big for them. So it's a combination of a great player plus the great experience and the culture they've had. They bring them in and let them rip.
I think it tells you how far this Ole Miss program has come, Rocky, because you have an 11-win season, which is a program record, and Lane Kiffin says, no. You know, we got to get a lot better. Pete Golding told us yesterday he didn't realize how many guys were in that big game environment for the first time, to your point. So not only did you get SEC size, you got SEC experience, and that should bode well moving forward for this team this season.
Yeah, I mean, Pete pointed out, you play a game night game at Georgia, night game at Alabama. That's a different deal now, right? And if you're not prepared for that, you're not experienced for that, it can eat you alive. So the guys they brought in really understand it.
is doing it all. He scores a touchdown offensively, lays the lumber defensively.
Yeah, Pegues, one-man wrecking crew out there. And that's only, I mean, the combination of those two guys, and the quickness beating the offensive line off the block, and then just the combination of him and Walter Nolan. You know, who do you double team, right? You can't double team two guys, right? So somebody's going to be on block, whether it's Nolan or Pegues. One of those guys is going to have a big day. Miami Ellen, bottom of the screen, number one.
That's a false start.
And you can see the stress that puts on offensive lineman Blake Conley.
Offense, number 65. That's a 5-yard penalty, and it remains third down.
He sees Princely Emmanuel, and he says, I got to get back in my depth here. That's a tall task. We got number one staring down the barrel. He just got off the line a little early.
Umami Ellen, 11.5 sacks the last 2 seasons at Florida. Great example of what we were just talking about, that SEC talent and experience they have brought into Oxford to bolster this roster ahead of a team they think can contend for an SEC and national championship. 3rd and 17, best throw of the night.
Wow.
Put it right in there. Ben Ferguson hauled it in. They needed 17, got 16. Jones wants to go for it.
That was a big boy throw right there by Jones. Had a lot of umph on it. Great catch. Got 1 foot down. Carson Jones wants to go for it here.
Clay Hendricks, the head coach, is letting him.
Going man-to-man across the board here.
Might just try and draw him off on a 4th and 1.
Now you see the defense adjusting. TJ Daugherty out there commanding that team, getting everybody lined up, changing the call.
The first charge timeout of the half.
Timeout by Furman. We'll take the timeout as well. Ahead of a 4th and 1. Ole Miss 31-0. A rule change this year in college football. You see defensive coordinator for Ole Miss, Pete Golding, talking into the walkie-talkie. This is the in-helmet communication. So coordinators can talk to one player on the field until 15 seconds on the play clock or the snap, Rocky. And you did this when you played in the NFL. You were on the receiving end of that coordinator talking to you.
It is, and it's a unique spot, and TJ Daugherty is the guy with the dot on his helmet. out there. And
that green dot right there.
There it is. And only one guy per team can have that on when they're on the field. It's such a cat and mouse game because the defense wants to hold the call, because the offense, they want to see what personnel they put out there. But I think it's only going to help good coaches, right? Because now they'll have a better, easier way to communicate things to their players, especially on offense.
Furman electing to punt it away after they showed before the timeout that they were a threat to go for it on 4th and 1. Micah Davis, solid return of 9. The flag comes in after the punt return.
During the return, personal foul, illegal blindside block on the return team number 1. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the run. First down.
And just right there at the end,
yep.
The blindside block. I think that was a Mammy Ellen on that.
So we were talking about that in-headset communication now. For most teams, that's going to be the offensive or defensive coordinator going into the headset of the green dot player. Offensively, it's the quarterback, Jackson Dart, wearing that green dot. And not only does OC Charlie Wise Jr. get in there, but the head coach, Lane Kiffin, has the ability as well. Dart rockets it downfield, right on the money. Trey Harris. Boy, those two have a great chemistry, carrying over from last season, picked up where they left off.
I mean, just a great throw, great chemistry, as you mentioned, Jay, but that ball just jumps out of Jackson Dart's hand, and it's more times than not right on the money. You mentioned headset communication, Jay. Yeah, Lane Kiffin has a button where he can talk to Jackson too, so that's going to be something Lane Kiffin talked about. They got to iron out. You don't want too many voices in the head of the quarterback, right, where he gets hesitant. Something that will have to evolve during the season.
Dart pump fakes, now airs it out to the tight end. Wide open, inside the 5. Touchdown, Ole Miss. .46-yard strike to Caden Prescorn, and Ole Miss pouring it on in this second quarter.
You see at the bottom of your screen, they've been throwing so many of these screen passes, right? So the defense is going to want to drive up on that, and then what happens is Caden Prescorn acts like he's going to block and then takes off, gets behind the corner. He took the bait, and Jackson Dart Prescorn took advantage of it.
Jackson Dart up to 299 passing yards. That is the most he has had in any half of his career. What a start.
Welcome back to Oxford, where Ole Miss is leading 38-0 over Furman. And just before the break, tight end Caden Prescorn took it in the end zone for another Rebels touchdown. Caden shared with me that he really appreciates the family atmosphere that Coach Kiffin has established here. He loves the fact that he can bring his son Mac to practice. He says that's been awesome. It's been a joy to have him around the program. He also gave all of his uncles, aka Caden's teammates, t-shirts ahead of the season. Caden says he's so appreciative and grateful for how his teammates are with his son. As for Mac's favorite uncle on the team, it's quarterback Walker Howard, or as Mac calls him, Uncle Wawa.
Great stuff, Ashley. And as a guy who has 3 sons, I couldn't imagine how cool it would be to be college football player, big-time college football player, and have your son out here running around, being a part of that. I mean, how cool would that be? Mac pre-scoring. Look at that. Walking out there with Dad every day. That's great.
Offensive MVP in the bowl game. There's Caden with the trophy. Do you have to pull up YouTube clips to show your boys you playing in your glory days?
I do, and some of them aren't even in high def, Jay. That's when we have to start really explaining things to the kids. Yeah, they take turns doing that, getting on the YouTube and stuff. Makes me feel good for a little bit. Yeah, I get to see their dad walking around with those long, flowing orange hair like I had at times. The good old days.
Yeah, you've really cleaned it up.
Thank you. My wife makes me.
Midway through this second quarter, it has been all Ole Miss. Wow, another big tackle. Every single play, the pursuit of the football, the point of attack for Ole Miss defensively has been apparent.
There's no room for the receivers to get open, and if there is a sliver of room, that ground is eaten up quick. Lewis Moore, great job closing on the football there.
Fifth tackle for loss in this first half for Ole Miss defensively.
There you go.
Brandon Turnage, the Oxford native, transfer from Tennessee, walking off the field ahead of this 3rd and 12.
All right, 3rd and long here. Time to pin your ears back. Get your quarterback.
They send pressure. Jones gets rid of it, tiptoeing that sideline, but short of the first down. Baylor Hughes out of the backfield.
Fourth and 8, you're gonna have to punt this thing.
Yeah, you're waiting to see where they marked Hughes had stepped out, all the way back at the 27. So no choice but to punt. Kai Davis, returnable punt here. Gets out of bounds just shy of the 40.
It's been domination by Ole Miss so far in this game. Let's take a look at the yards, 360 to 105. Ole Miss both in the pass and the run game, putting up good numbers. I think Lane Kiffin's got to be happy. Of course, head coaches are never happy, but got to be somewhat happy with that.
Now, we had Arkansas in their opener on Thursday night. They won that game 70-0. Ole Miss on pace to score more than 70 in this football game. No sign of slowing down. Dart, he's already thrown for 3 touchdowns and 299 yards. Steps up, uncorks another deep ball, and it's caught. Trey Harris. What a connection those two have, and it's another Ole Miss touchdown. .360 passing yards and 4 touchdowns for Jackson Dart. Harris blows the alley-oop dunk, though.
Yeah, let's not get hurt doing the dunk thing on the sideline, right? A little nervous about that. Trey Harrison, 7 catches, 157 yards in the first half.
You have so many great targets for Jackson Dart to throw at. Trey Harris tops that list.
Yeah, you're going to see Trey Harris at the very top of the screen, and he's just going to run a little over route, but deep, and just use his speed right down the seam, right in between the hashes. Just an absolutely perfect ball by Jackson Dart, right in the basket. Trey Harris off to an absolutely amazing start here.
Most yards Jackson Dart has had in a half in his career. 364 passing touchdowns. He rushed for a touchdown as well in this first half. Harris the top target. One of only 6 SEC receivers a year ago that had 900 yards or more. 4 of those 6 were NFL first-round picks. It's funny talking with Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr. They said Trey Harris has gotten so much better. He was good last year. He is great now, and 157 yards and a touchdown in this first half.
Yeah, and again, you bring more talent on this team. You bring in not just Juice Wells, but all the other talent in all the other positions. It forces you to raise your game up. You don't want to be the one to, on a team like this that's loaded, to be the weak link. So it forces you to work hard. And right now, Trey Harris looks like an even better receiver than last year.
You see Jackson Dart moving into 5th all-time for Ole Miss passing touchdowns. Jones almost picked off there. But a tough night for the redshirt sophomore quarterback for Furman. Chris Paul Jr. almost got his hands on it.
Chris Paul Jr., another one of those transfers. Played at Arkansas last year, 137 tackles at Arkansas over 3 years. He now comes to Ole Miss and is a big part of this linebacking core.
Best play of the day for Furman. They've been waiting for this, especially in the running game. Mayan Hicks, gain of 20.
What a good job by Hicks there. You see the left side of your screen, pull some linemen around, hat on a hat. Ole Miss couldn't get off blocks. Nice play. And you see Ole Miss's defense rotating a lot of guys in, and Pete Golding talked about how important that is. Play a lot of guys, helps your depth, but also keeps everyone on your team engaged. Everyone says, hey, I got an opportunity to contribute here. Doesn't, creates less animosity around that locker room.
Jones off his back foot, misfires. I'm impressed, Rocky, both sides of the field for Ole Miss. As the scoreboard gets even more lopsided, they're playing like it's 0-0. This is game one. They've waited all offseason for this moment. They're fired up, and they have shown it. Great pursuit on both sides of the ball.
No, I mean, you can still get a lot out of these games. Again, you're getting more guys in the game. You're working on your depth, which is absolutely going to be necessary as the season goes on. You just don't get many live opportunities to work on your craft, and you got to take advantage of every rep and every game to get better. There's two of the big two additions right there. Mamie Ellen, Walter Nolan. There's Begeese in there, big 38s, had a nice day. We're showing man-to-man here. This is something they feel they can play a lot more of this year because of the players they have. Wow.
Read very well. Ole Miss defensively has been as stout as Lane Kiffin's offense has looked.
As I mentioned, Jay, they're able to play man-to-man there. They have the dudes to play man-to-man, and that's always advantageous. When you can just line up across the guy and say, our guys are better than your guys, we're going to lock you up. and have the confidence they're going to shut it down. A nice job by Jason Kennedy there coming up making the tackle.
Guess the question becomes, Rocky, we're in the second quarter here, but 45-0. Davis turns the corner, shows some speed, gets all the way to the 40. How much more of Jackson Dart do you need to see in this game?
It's true. I think Lane Kiffin would probably like to see him come out of the half and, just to get used to that kind of thing, but you also don't want to put your quarterback, who's a superstar, put him at risk.
Good start to the Heisman campaign for Dart.
Absolutely. See Carson Beck. Good job leading Georgia to a nice victory here earlier today against Clemson.
We'll see him next week in Athens. Looking forward to
be there.
Georgia. How about this stat? Jackson Dart, the first SEC player with 350 pass yards and a half since Joe Burrow did it in 2019. Dart evades the sack, hurdles through two tacklers, gain of 11. In a 45-0 game, though, Ole Miss fans, hold your breath a little bit when Dart decides to scramble.
Jumping over guys, yes.
Dart keeps it again. He has rushed for a touchdown in this game, and he's thrown 4 of them.
Slowing this thing down now.
Flag comes out.
Delay of game on the defense, number 39, clapping. That's a 5-yard penalty, and it remains second down. Was that a short?
Yeah, you're not allowed to try to insinuate a snap count there by doing a jerk or a clap or anything like that. So that's what drew the flag. Now you can make the case, well, hey, I'm just giving a signal so my guys can move, but I think it's going to fall on deaf ears there.
Dart dialing up another deep shot. Broken up in the end zone. Caleb Williams, good defense in the secondary there for Furman to deny Caden Lee a score.
Nice playing the ball by Caleb Williams. That's tough. He had to contort his body around, still find that ball up in the air and able to punch it out. Great job.
Third and 1. Go right up the middle for the first down. And up 45-0. I know Lane Kiffin wants to hurry, but maybe one eye on the clock here.
As we're going to get the other new addition to college football, the 2-minute timeout coming up here.
One more play before that 2-minute timeout. Bubble screen. Juice Wells Jr. leaping over defenders. And that'll take us to the 2-minute timeout with Ole Miss driving up 45-0. What a start for Jackson Dart. The Heisman campaign is kicked off here in Oxford. Rebels up 45-0. Time now for Random Fandom. Each week we're going to celebrate a fan that embodies the passion that makes college football special. Meet Marianne McKinney Beals. During the week she's a teacher in her 33rd school year. On Saturday she's the tailgate queen. Her day starts 10 hours before kickoff. She's chanting, cheering. Even Rocky Boyman jumped in. Oh, she is a ball of energy, a ton of fun. was great meeting her.
That was awesome.
She's rooting on her Rebels. A lot to shout about in this first half. A 45-0 lead, and there's Marianne in her season ticket seats.
There she is. I mean, I just love the fact, I mean, she lives for the party in the Grove and getting hyped up. She loves when the opposing team's fans come by and get a drink, get something to eat. Gotta love it.
She was telling us even DK Metcalf used to stop by the tailgate after the game.
I love the fact she called us Yankees too when we first walked up. That was hilarious.
And she's going to be cheering for this touchdown. It's Trey Harris again. Marianne loves it. She's been out of her seat all first half long. Trey Harris and Jackson Dart. You're going to hear those names all season long.
Yeah, Marianne's going to be cheering a lot, I think, for this offense this year. There's going to be a lot of touchdowns scored. Jackson Dart, Harris, 8 catches, 179 yards, 2 touchdowns. He is having a day.
Hey, and it's easy to cheer for Ole Miss when they're winning the football game by 50 points, but Marianne, she joked, there's some years that she doesn't want to talk about that the tailgate was a little less crowded, but she was still there every Saturday.
She's been here through thick and thin. That is a true fan. Great job, Jackson Dart, with the play action. Hitting Harris as he's done 7 other times here today. And #1 fan, the tailgate queen, Marianne, just loving it.
5 passing touchdowns for Jackson Dart. Marianne McKinney-Beals, random fandom, week 1. Boy, we're off to a good start. We had Rick in Arkansas, Marianne at Ole Miss.
And I got to give you the credit, partner. This is your brainchild, random fandom, and it is a very cool segment. Nothing embodies college football like the fan. And I know you put a lot of thought into that, and this is going to be a cool segment all year, man.
Especially in stadiums like this. You can just feel the fandom, the heartbeat that makes this sport so special. And, you know, little extra juice in the building. Game 1 when your team's #6 in the preseason, and then they play like this. All your hopes and dreams coming alive in this first half. Coming up at halftime, you can watch the live performance of the Pride of the South on SEC Network Plus. You can start streaming right now on the ESPN app. It's another thing. We talk fandom. How about the bands that make up the SEC?
It's
what a
all
show.
part of the equation, right? It's all this together makes for this glorious event called college football.
You ever play an instrument growing up?
I'm a drummer.
Drummer.
My band, Gunmetal Gray, we specialized in very mediocre covers of hair metal from the 80s.
That's great. You didn't tell me that.
There's all kinds of stuff you got to know about me, Jay.
What a first half for Ole Miss. And Furman avoids disaster there. Actually turns into a gain of 5. Ryan Lamb, the right guard. Right place, right time for the big fella. He's got the grass in his helmet.
Still out here having a good time. Love to see it.
Hey, even though they're down 52-0, you get to say you came to Oxford and played #6 team in the country. Cool stuff. Some movement on that offensive line.
false start on the offense number 66. That's a 5-yard penalty, and it remains second down. Ole Miss has declined the 10-second runoff. The game clock will start on the snap.
Jones in trouble, flushed left. Ole Miss relentless defensively in this first half. We've heaped a lot of praise on their offense and Jackson Dart, and for good reason. He's got 5 passing touchdowns, but this defense has been really impressive too.
And that was the part of this roster, right, that they felt they really had to upgrade. The defense, especially the trenches. That's the difference maker when you're playing those other top 2 or 3 teams in the country. And I think they feel pretty good about the results so far.
Play clock under 5. Furman has to burn a timeout.
Timeout, Furman. This is their second charge timeout of the half. There will be a 30-second timeout.
Take a look around the SEC. I was going to say good day for the SEC. Feels like every Saturday's a good day for the SEC. Georgia got the party started, preseason #1 team. They looked every bit of it, especially in that second half. Shout out Vanderbilt.
How about that?
Upset over Virginia Tech in overtime. Big win for the Commodores.
That's right.
Yeah,
Great job. And then Miami taking care of business over Florida, though.
Rocky, before the season started, we had you do a mock college football playoff. You filled in your 12. You had Miami winning the ACC.
I like the same thing. I kind of like their front 7 on offense and defense. I think they can compete with the big boys. I think we'll have a good year in that ACC.
Well, after this first half by Ole Miss, it would not surprise me, Rocky, if it's Georgia and Ole Miss to decide the SEC championship.
I don't think that's far off.
And the last time the Rebels were SEC champions, 1963.
A long time.
61 long years, and they feel like they have the team that could restore this program to the top of the conference. Big hit. Amos again. How impressive has Trey Amos been in this first half? Transfer from Alabama.
And what you love to see as a defensive coordinator is a shutdown corner in the pass coverage game, but then a guy that also likes to come up and make tackles, fights through the block, acts like it ain't even there, and drops the wide receiver for a minus gain. That is impressive stuff. You want those cornerbacks that can do both. There's not many of them out there. It looks like Trey Amos is one of them.
So up 52-0, Lane Kiffin decides to take a timeout and give his offense a little 50-second drill. So a good live test for Jackson Dart. You got to treat it like a live practice at this point. Up 52-0, you get a rehearsal before you have to do it in a big-time game.
Yeah, I mean, in college football, there's no preseason games like the NFL, right? In preseason games, you work on things, and if you are fortunate enough, like right here, to be up by 52 points, you still want to practice some of the scenarios so when they happen down the road, you're ready for them.
So one timeout, 42 seconds, and a little more than 60 yards to go for Jackson Dart and this Ole Miss offense. First player in Ole Miss history with 5 passing touchdowns in a half. Nearly 400 yards as well. And I'm going to guess, Rocky, this is going to be his final drive of the night.
I would think so. I'd be shocked if he comes out after halftime. But look, part of the Heisman is putting up numbers, right? And here's a game where he can really pad those numbers a bit. And I think right now you're practicing a true 2-minute drive here where you want to go fast, pick up yards, milk that clock down, and still find a way to score a touchdown here in a short amount of time.
Well, it has felt like a video game for Jackson Dart in this first half, trying to add another score. That won't help the cause.
Ole Miss still has one timeout left.
They've had a very effective deep shot, although that time just throwing to the first down. Aiden Williams, his first catch of the game. Clock stops to spot the ball, under 2 minutes.
All right, we'll get that thing off before. Good job. Now you get out of bounds. Got 12 seconds on timeout. Still time for
2 plays here?
2 plays. But with the timeout, you still use the middle of the field here.
Right.
And I think this scenario is try to get a big chunk yardage play down the sideline, be able to get out of bounds. Then you can still save that timeout to be able to get your field goal team on the field if you want to kick it.
Dart checks it down. You got to get down and call that final timeout, which Lane Kiffin does.
Call it.
So 1 second left.
Timeout, Ole Miss. This is their final charge timeout of the half. Please reset the game clock to 3 seconds.
One final play here. Jackson Dart, 6 touchdowns total, 5 through the air, 1 with his legs. His second career 400-yard game. He did it against Vanderbilt in 2022. Did it in just 1 half here to start the 24 season.
He's been great. I mean, looks totally in command, totally relaxed, comfortable in the offense, seeing the field. I think Lane Kiffin would like a little bit better execution of this 2-minute drive. Some guys getting out of bounds, saving a little bit more clock. I think you get a chance for one more play, make a more manageable field goal.
Caden Davis's career long is from 56. This will be from 53. So this is a good live game rep for Davis, the kicker.
And maybe that is the play. Let's force your kicker to make a long field goal to close the half out.
Davis, plenty of leg on it, but missed it just outside. Still a strong first half for Ole Miss.
And Ole Miss has really looked the part, all the new additions, making contributions, making big plays. Jackson Dart, 3rd year in the system, looks fantastic. The defense to boot. Ole Miss right now looks like a real team.
The nation. If the college football playoff started right now, Ole Miss feeling good about their chances. A 52-0 first half, a statement to start the season. It's a season that comes with big expectations. Maybe the most anticipated season that this program has had since Archie Manning was the quarterback and they came out and laid the hammer of that first half.
Yeah, and it's been one of the holdovers, you would say, from last year. Jackson Dart, been fantastic. It's even better, looser, more comfortable than last year. Making plays, of course, in the pass game early on. He had the rushing touchdown. Here he hits Juice Wells for the deep touchdown pass. 5 touchdown passes, 1 rushing touchdown for Jackson Dart. The offensive line giving him the time, and he is just putting the ball on the money.
And Trey Harris, the top target. He had 2 touchdowns, 179 yards in that first half. The numbers jump off the page. 500 total yards in that first half. It's like Jackson Dart was playing a video game.
It was. He was sitting back there, he had all the time in the world, but he was making great decisions. And it's not just, he's not just throwing short passes around there. It's every phase, short passes, bubble screens, then deep shots we saw. Then we see the intermediate passing game, hitting Caden Prescorn and some others. I mean, this kid's the real deal, and he just continues to work on his game and get better. He's in some pretty great company right there.
Well, he joins Eli Manning and Bo Wallace as the only 3-year starters for Ole Miss since the year 2000. And he's definitely going to catch Wallace by the time this year is over. I think Eli Manning's safe with 81 passing touchdowns.
So.
What do you think Lane Kiffin says about that first half, Rocky?
I think he's got to be really happy with it. I think both offensively and defensively, it didn't look like, there was, the mental mistakes. You weren't seeing a bunch of, offsides and, things like that. The execution looked like it was crisp. And then, defensively, I just think their ability with the better players they have out there to play some man-to-man, rely on those guys up front to get to after the passer with a 4-man rush instead of having to blitz. That's just what you want.
Well, in a season with more preseason hype, bigger expectations that Ole Miss has had in a long, long time, they have delivered so far. One half in the books, 52-0. Probably get a lot of second and third stringers in this second half. Keep everybody healthy. Let's check in down on the sideline with Ashley.
Well, hey, Jay and Rocky, I just spoke with Lane Kiffin. I asked him about how he felt like the defense played in the first half. He kept it short and sweet. He said really good. He said he was really pleased with how that front seven performed, and you probably won't see too much more from the starting unit this second half.
And that's good stuff, Ashley, and it makes sense. Again, we keep talking about that D word, depth. Got to have it. The only way you can get depth is by getting guys out there, getting them in the game, getting them experience. So it's a good opportunity here for Lane Kiffin to get some other guys some reps here.
And if you're tuning in and seeing the score popping in, this is a Furman team that won back-to-back 10-win seasons, got into the FCS playoffs last year, lost in overtime to Montana. FCS, they've been expanded to a playoff since 1982. So FBS
new to it.
Doing it for the first time this season. Ole Miss hopes they can be a playoff team. And that is a huge hit. Blown up in the backfield. Chris Paul Jr. laying some serious lumber.
And here we go. Another one of those transfer portal guys coming in. Look at that, shooting the gap on the blitz, no hesitation. It's just a big-time play by a great athlete. And Lane Kiffin has got to be smiling. Those additions he made, going in the portal, doing what he had to do to get them, they're showing up here early, making plays.
And Ole Miss continues to dial up the pressure. It's Chris Paul Jr. again. Back-to-back tackles for loss. That drops Furman. 11-yard loss, 9th tackle for loss of the day for Ole Miss.
There he is at the bottom of the screen. You might want to get a hat on number 11, but the problem is he's so fast. By the time you recognize he's coming, he's already passed. I mean, when you got linebackers that can get after the quarterback and bring pressure, get that guy down, it's a luxury.
The only problem for Furman, now that Ole Miss has brought in the second string, is these guys are fresh. They're playing their first football of the season. They want to prove a point here. And that was a very impressive defensive drive by Ole Miss. Flag comes out.
catching interference on the kicking team, number 32. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, first down.
So Jackson Dart, as we suspected, his day is done. Finishes with 6 touchdowns, 5 through the air, 1 with his legs. And this is Austin Simmons, pitcher on the baseball team. Always good to be a left-handed pitcher, and he throws lefty as a quarterback as well.
And a freshman. And that's what's amazing. Dual sport athlete.
Play action. Gonna let Simmons air it out on first down to the end zone. It's caught. First pass in an Ole Miss uniform picks out Caden Lee for a Rebels touchdown.
What a start to a career, right?
And the coaching staff raved about Simmons. They said, we'd love to get him some reps. Well, rep number 1 goes for a touchdown.
And it's so important to get those quarterbacks, those live game reps, reading defenses, assessing what to check in and check out of. And what a start to a career.
Now, we just said it about the Ole Miss defense, but second string offense comes in. That's their first rep of the season. They want to prove that they're ready to roll, and they did just that.
Yeah, good job. We get Simmons coming in the game, looks calm, cool back there, and just like Jackson Dart, just putting the ball right on the money. Another score for Ole Miss.
Number 6, Ole Miss living up to the preseason hype, the preseason ranking. This is a team that feels like they can win their first SEC championship in 61 years, get into the college football playoff, and make some noise in what is a new era of college football here in the year 2024. Let's check in with Ashley Stroline down on the sideline.
Well, once Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart made the decision that he would be returning for another season here, he took it upon himself to help with the recruiting. The minute a player entered the transfer portal, he was reaching out. He was talking to his coaches about who would be in town, who was visiting, and he did not miss a single dinner when they hosted someone on a visit here, no matter if it was offense or defense. Dart said he took the role upon himself because he wanted this place to be special, wants to do things that haven't been done here in a really long time. His goal is to leave a legacy.
And Ashley, that's what a true leader does in every facet, right? You find a way to make your team better, and that's a huge thing. You get your star quarterback involved in that recruiting process and reaching out to guys and helping get those star recruits here. And look, it's only to the benefit of Jackson Dart as he leads this team, hopefully to a fantastic, one-of-a-kind season.
Dart, the first player to have 400 yards passing, 5 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown in a season opener in the last 20 years. Incredible, and he did it in 1 half.
Whew.
So the Heisman campaign off to a strong start for Jackson Dart. His defense has delivered as well. A lot of those guys he was sitting in on those dinners were on the defensive side of the ball, Rocky.
Yeah.
And boy, they look the part.
Well, and that's a good point, because it's not like he was just paying attention to the wide receivers in the portal and the offensive guys. He knew that the key to this team getting to that upper echelon, the top echelon, was their defense needed to get more dudes. And you more guys on that offensive, or excuse me, on that defensive line in secondary, and he was a big part of recruiting it.
Not to mention, you get a free dinner out of it.
That's right.
That's pretty good.
Who's going to turn down a free dinner?
Third and 8. Been a tough night for Carson Jones. Ball's caught. Just shy of that first down marker. Colton Hinton the catch. And Lane Kiffin told us yesterday that he brought a lot of those transfers in during the lead up to the bowl game, during those bowl practices. And not only did they get to meet with quarterback Jackson Dart and start to understand the culture, but they got to observe those practices. And he said we had a lot of fun during those practices, and guys were thinking, I want to be a part of this.
Right? I mean, looks like there's a party going on. Looks like there's a lot of great talent, and they're working hard, got a great team, but they have a lot of fun. Who wouldn't want to come play for that?
I said to Lane, is the fun culture you've built here the reason you're getting all these transfers? He goes, no, it still comes down to giving them a lot of money, too.
Money,
but if the money's neutral, that could break the tie. And Lane Kiffin's having a lot of fun, up 59-0 here in Oxford.
The 12-team college football playoff is here. The first round kicks off on campus December 20th. From there, the playoff continues in a bracket format, culminating with the national championship game on January 20th, only on ESPN.
Kirk Herbstreit with a great explanation of this college football playoff coming this December. 12-team playoff. Ole Miss certainly wants to be a part of it. They feel good enough. Preseason top 6. That would put you safely in the playoff.
And top 10 looking pretty good. Of course, Florida State slipped up there in that opening game. But look, to me, that's the beauty of the 12-team playoff. It will allow a 1 or even a 2, maybe even a 3-loss team to still get into that thing. In years past, you lose one game, you're likely out of it. And I've seen it happen in 2018 with Ohio State. They lose one game to Purdue and had a fantastic team. They're left out of that 14 playoff. And I saw Booger McFarland talking about how he wanted to go back to the 14 playoff. Come on, Boog. The 12-team playoff is where it's at. Get more fan bases involved.
Exactly.
That's the way to do it.
Take this fan base, for example, right? I don't know if Ole Miss, maybe they will be, but I don't know that they're a top 4 team. But they're definitely a top 12 team.
Yeah.
And if they can get hot, they'll have a chance to win a national championship.
And look, I mean, toward the end of the year, if they take 12 teams, you're going to have 16, 17 teams that are going to be in the mix and engaged. That's a good thing.
Now, the important thing to point out, I think the biggest difference between the 4-team playoff and the 12-team playoff is the committee was tasked with taking the best 4 teams. Not the most deserving, just the best 4.
Right.
The 12-team playoff, you have to take those top 4 seeds conference champions. So it's the top 4 conference champions. So let's say Ole Miss and Georgia play in the SEC championship, and they're 1 and 2 in the country. The loser of that game, the best they can do is 5th.
And you watch people lose their minds when, a Big 12 team that's ranked 10th or 11th winds up getting the 4 seed and getting a bye. That's a part of it, but I think it's a good thing. You reward teams that win their conferences.
And you could have a team that's ranked 20th, but if they win the league that they're in, they will get that first round bye. The first round, too, how awesome is that? Home sites. That's going to be phenomenal.
Let's go back to the core of college football, the fans, right? You get to be at a home environment. That's fantastic. And look at that. We get football from now all the way through January 20th.
Hey, if we're not working December 20th or 21st and Ole Miss is hosting a college football playoff, I think we're invited to Marianne's tailgate.
I'm there.
What a scene that would be in Oxford. I joked with her and a bunch of Ole Miss fans. I go, man, you haven't won an SEC championship in 61 years. If you do that or get into the college football playoff and find a thing to win it, you'll burn this city down. And she goes, no, we don't burn, we just party.
That's right.
And it would be some party here in
Grove,
Oxford.
It was my first experience at the Grove today, and I think yours too, and that is something else. A lot of fun.
If you're a college football fan and you have not been to the Grove here at Ole Miss, put it on the bucket list.
If you're a high school recruit, and I don't know if I want to come take the kid over to the Grove. Take the visit, go on over there, take old Rocky's advice here. You won't regret it.
The problem is, you played at Notre Dame. If you took an official visit to Ole Miss, you might have never been to South Bend.
That is a fact.
And Furman's gone to the backup quarterback, Trey Hedden. He's a true freshman from Tampa, Florida. Played his high school ball at Tampa Catholic. They're going to leave Hedden and the Paladins offense on the field for this 4th and 2. And the Ole Miss defense delivers again.
And I like the call there, a little play action boot to the backside, but it's well covered by Ole Miss, and they're going to get the football back when we return.
Now Furman enters this season with heavy hearts following the death of one of their captains, Bryce Stanfield, who died suddenly in February. You see his fellow captains carrying out his number 97 onto the field pregame here in Oxford. We spoke with their head coach, Clay Hendricks, who told us they plan to honor Stanfield throughout this season. You see the Stanfield strong on the back of the Furman helmets, and going forward, he told us he will always be a part of this Furman program.
Yeah, just a devastating story. Just by all accounts, a fantastic young man, just a crusher right there. Volunteered everywhere, great teammate, and you know this Furman program is going to make sure they keep his legacy and what he did alive.
This is the backup quarterback, Austin Simmons, slinging it for Ole Miss. Great catch. Wow. Aka hauled it in there. Brings it back to a 3rd and 10. Simmons showing some flashes in his collegiate debut here. His first pass went for a touchdown, making some audibles at the line. Get some live action in game 1 with the result comfortable for Ole Miss. Dropped ball there, incomplete.
Ole Miss forced a punt here.
Frazier was in. It's been a quiet night for the Ole Miss punter. When you take a look at this Ole Miss schedule, Rocky, November 9th, they host Georgia. Before that, they're at LSU, at South Carolina, at Arkansas in terms of SEC road games. Is there a chance that they go into that Georgia game undefeated?
I think there is a chance. I mean, how big would that be? That's a monster right there. I think a very, as you laid out, a very manageable schedule early on here, and that would be a fun one.
They're just so deep. They have no weaknesses. This is an 11-2 win team a year ago. The only 2 losses were Georgia and Alabama, and they got a lot better.
Yeah.
I just don't see them getting tripped up.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, again, an 11-win team, you say, boy, we got to get better. We got to bring in 24 new players, which they did. And it just, again, I think there's a big gap between the really good teams and the elite teams. You know, I would put Ohio State, let's go last year. Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, Washington, maybe, they're in the elite. Then there's a lot of really good teams after that, but the gap is pretty wide for those top teams up there. But that's what Lane Kiffin went on a mission this offseason to do, is to get up into that top echelon, and so far the results look very, very promising.
Snap over the head.
Oh.
Absolutely drilled. Trey Haddon, the freshman, didn't have a prayer there. Helmet flies off as well. A couple of flags down. And Chris Paul Jr. was in the right place to pick up the ball. The officials have to sort this out. You know it's a big hit when you got Ken Trevor, our spotter in the booth here, giving an audible whoa in the booth.
Yeah, helmet popped off, the whole deal.
Was it a legal hit is the question.
Intentional grounding on the offense number 8. That penalty is a loss of down at the spot of the foul. It is 4th down. Number 8 must leave the game. His helmet came off.
So it's a legal hit and intentional grounding. Nothing Heading can do here. He picks it up, gets clocked.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that was a good decision there at all. Just jump on that thing. That was a mess.
It's 59-0.
Yeah.
Sacrifice 2 more points, just kick it out the back of the end zone and avoid the clobbering. Furman's going to punt this ball away. You're seeing the mentality, though, of those Ole Miss players. You'd think, they're going to call them off. No, they're playing full throttle despite a 59-0 lead. And to a degree, that's what you want in your program, right?
Well, you do. And on a roster that's full of talent, you got to find a way to stand out, and it's not as easy to do. So you got to use every opportunity you have to make a play. You know, make a coach see you. Do something that stands out, that shows you belong, and are a guy that can contribute on a great team like this. And that's why, you know, talent and competition just lift all boats.
Lane Kiffin's arguing that this should have been a live ball fumble. Lane, it's 59-0. You've had a defensive tackle score a touchdown in this game. You're on your 2nd and 3rd string. Maybe we just let Furman punt the ball away.
Yeah.
Bring that schedule back up.
To me, Jay, though, the one I look at is at LSU. I think
the Ole Miss head coach has elected not to challenge the play. It is 4th down.
And there's a chance, a really good chance, an opportunity to go be 5-0 going to that game at
going
LSU.
To the Death Valley.
And that's going to be
special.
The one. They can come out of there and look good and win a big game in a very, very tough environment. Now we're on to something.
And we just saw Arkansas the other night in Little Rock. They've got to go to Fayetteville in November. It'll be very interesting, Rocky. It obviously looked good against Pine Bluff. I just think at the quarterback position, Taylor Green, he had a good night, but you compare him to Jackson Dart, and Dart's just a couple levels above.
Yeah, as good as Arkansas looked, I think right now I'd have to say Ole Miss is the better team. Deeper, and you said it, Jay. They got the better player at the #1 position in college football, and that is the quarterback. As good as Taylor Green looked, I think he can continue to get better, but I mean, Jackson Dart is in the Heisman conversation for a reason. He went out tonight and showed he certainly belongs in that.
Simmons, the lefty.
Wow.
Very accurate, much like Jackson Dart.
Accurate. It's just amazing how these quarterbacks develop these days. I mean, that's a big throw. I mean, that's about a 25-yard throw to the outside part of the field and is right in the receiver's hands.
He lofts this one to the end zone, right back to Williams, and that's defensive pass interference to deny the touchdown. Well, I guess Simmons better be accurate. He's a relief pitcher for the Ole Miss baseball team. So.
Yeah, he gets a lot of practice hitting the glove, right? Hitting the target.
He's throwing strikes tonight. That one would have been dropped right in if not for the defensive PI.
Pass interference on the defense #16. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the previous spot, and it carries an automatic 1st down.
Simmons taking another shot to the end zone.
Oh.
Almost another Rebels touchdown. Josh Aka, the intended receiver.
Nice job. Little slot fade. And that's a well-thrown ball. That's a tough catch. See what Dart thinks of it. He knew it was close.
Ball that rolled out on the field. Please reset the game clock, the play clock, to 25 seconds.
Good decision by Simmons to keep that ball. It would have been a tackle for loss, turns into a gain of 8. Right up the middle, rumbling, shedding tacklers for another Ole Miss touchdown. It's Matt Jones, the Mississippi native.
That's great to get Matt Jones involved, former walk-on. Been with this program for a while, as you said, Jay. Mississippi native. Look at that, Jackson Dart coming all the way out on that field to congratulate him. That's cool. Here we go with the dunk.
Another miss.
Got stuffed.
We got to get a tally on missed dunks tonight.
And another potential injury. I'm telling you right now, I would do away with
you would ban
dunk.
the basketball.
It would be done.
Yep. Boyman wants to ban the basketball.
Right now.
Hoop.
Sorry. I like fun too, but we can't
So
have
I guess on the scale of Nick Saban to Pete Carroll that Lane Kiffin was talking about yesterday in terms of strict and fun players, Coach, you're more Saban.
I'm more Saban, yes. I'd probably scale more. Let's not get hurt celebrating. But, I mean, just a great job coming off the zone read that they've ran so well with Simmons. And, I mean, heck, that was all Matt Jones breaking tackles right up the middle. Offensive line looked good. Jackson Dart out on the field to congratulate him. That's great.
I enjoyed our conversation with Lane Kiffin yesterday, and he touched a lot on just bringing the fun back to his approach to being a head football coach and just his life in general, too.
And I just think you, as a coach, I mean, this is such a grind. I think they're giving him a do-over here. There we go. Okay, no falling down either. But back to your point about Kiffin, I think this job is such a grind, right? And there's so much that goes into it. And you're always trying to do more and coach more and figure out more and better ways to do things. And you can just get caught up to the point where you're like, oh, I'm not enjoying this, and you got to enjoy it. And look, it's hard. You're not going to enjoy every aspect of it, but you got to find those moments where you can say that this is fun. I'm happy doing this, and it keeps you going, or else you burn out.
His team's having fun tonight, no doubt about it. A ton of smiles down on that Ole Miss sideline, and for good reason. And I think you're seeing with the second string coming in and performing just as well. That's the quality depth that we were talking about. Ole Miss was focused on bolstering their roster, and when you add so many elite players, your second string grows as well.
Right, yeah. And again, it's important, those guys, you feel when you're on a good team, I've been on good teams, and you feel the pressure of, hey, I want to be a contributing member of this, or, that's the other side of the portal is if you don't produce, they're going to bring in somebody that can. So you got to up your game, and again, the competition involved with that is what makes the whole team better.
Now, a lot of this preseason hype was because they got that #1 transfer portal class, and Lane Kiffin said, look, on paper it's great. It's exactly what we wanted to do, but we got to see it on the field. This is game one. They delivered.
They did. I mean, look, it happens every day, right? You get a recruit, he's a 5-star out of high school, and boy, he's going to be unbelievable, and it just doesn't pan out. You don't really know until those guys get out on the field and prove it. And there's always going to be questions and some anxiety until that happens. But to your point, Jay, I think Lane Kiffin right now has got to look at on that field, because a lot of the big contributions today have come from guys that came from the portal in this past offseason.
Chris Paul Jr. is one of them, number 11 in blue there, made another tackle. He's been all over the field for Ole Miss defensively. Furman just 1 of 12 on third down tonight, so Ole Miss is really locked down on their third down defense. They'll get another stop here. Fair catch called for. It's still more than a quarter to play. This game's been over from about the second or third drive. And I think if you're Lane Kiffin, obviously you want your reserves to continue to play to their ability, but your focus really becomes just keeping everybody healthy, not trying to do too much in a game that's out of hand.
Yeah, and look, as a coach, it's human nature. You got to start thinking about that. Hey, the only thing that can really put a damper on a great night like this is someone to get an injury. But you know, the other side is you can't think about that thing too much, because it's either going to happen or it's not. Just got to hope and pray your guys stay healthy and get out of here okay.
How about that? Ole Miss 6 passing touchdowns, Furman 5 first downs.
And it was fun talking to Lane too about how, you know, now with NIL being a part of the conversation, how a head coach essentially becomes a GM, right? You got to make roster decisions and financial decisions that are part of that thing now, and that all is yet another duty that falls on the head of the head coach.
Simmons has had some bright spots. Pitch here. But because Dart was so effective in the passing game, we actually haven't seen too much of Ulysses Bentley. Returning running back, had 540 yards a year ago and 4 touchdowns.
And as we talked about this a bit at the beginning of the game, no Quinshot Judkins, and man, he was fantastic, but it's going to be more a running back by committee approach for Ole Miss this year. Henry Parrish with the majority of the carries and snaps in this game, but also, of course, you have Ulysses Bentley. He's kind of the home run threat. You have Rashad Amos, former transfer from Miami. He's kind of your downhill, bigger back at 235 pounds. And we've seen Matt Jones get involved. Again, depth. It's a recurring theme.
And plus the goal line package was J.J. Pegues, who had a rushing touchdown earlier today. Simmons flushed out, going to tuck and run, safely out of bounds.
See, but now here's the problem, Jay, and I know this from experience. Pegues gets the touchdown and gets a couple carries. Now he's going to be going to Lane Kiffin and lobbying, hey, I need a pass now, coach. I need a little play action pass.
If you give
to
him
the
a
flat,
cookie.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's trying to take it.
If you give Pegues the football.
Man, we got to show that highlight again, him scoring that touchdown, jump cut, switching the ball with, he was carrying in his hand, and Man.
Somebody texted me that ESPN put it out on social media, and it's already got over 100,000 views.
Here it is. There it is. Yeah. You gotta love that 330-pound guy, jump cutting, fancy footwork in the hole.
4 tackles, a touchdown. Good day at the office. Bentley just needed 1, and he got it. I think Ole Miss is committed to the run here, up 66-0, just keep this clock moving. And again, we haven't seen that many rushing attempts because Dart was so good in that first half throwing the football. Bouncing off a couple tacklers, a lot of green grass. Matt Jones into the end zone, 46-yard touchdown.
Matt Jones finding a way to stand out tonight. A couple of nice runs. Here we go. Here's the basketball. I just get nervous right now. There you go. Nice, safe one.
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Boyman approved.
Boyman approved. No risk there.
This ties the most points in the Lane Kiffin era in a game with 73.
Nice job by Jones. He got stopped up in there, and like any good back, he just squirms, finds his way to daylight, and then turns on the afterburners. And Kiffin liked that play. Look at the excitement.
You would never know it's 73-0 looking at the Ole Miss sideline.
I know.
I love that mentality. It's a winning mentality.
It is. Let's stay focused on the task at hand. Let's stay focused on getting better.
And they're holding the shutout as well. Look, we're used to Lane Kiffin's offense scoring points. We're not used to Lane Kiffin's defense shutting out opponents. And he said they looked at their team last year and we need to get a lot better on defense, especially up front, and they have.
Yeah, and they have. Yeah, I mean, this is the part of this game that other SEC coaches watching tonight are saying, oh boy, here we go. And to your point, Ole Miss has put up points before. That's not nothing new. But finding a way with both your first team and your second team to hold a shutout, that's nice stuff.
Very balanced as well. You know, you could say Dart, obviously he put up the video game numbers with 6 touchdowns, 5 passing, 1 rushing, 418 yards. Maybe that's the best performance of the day right there.
Hanging there till the end.
73-0. Got the section to himself. Well, the tailgates are still going in the Grove.
No, they ain't stopping. They are not stopping.
So it's 73-0. Maybe I'll watch the rest on the monitor, having a cold one at the Grove. How about this? Pledge class earning it right now. The beer snake, that's impressive. That's going deep, and we still got a quarter to play here in Oxford. That might reach the Grove by the end of the night.
Well, Coach Kiffin, your starting quarterback Jackson Dart threw for 418 yards, 5 passing touchdowns, had a rushing touchdown. What are your takeaways from his performance tonight in the first half?
I thought he played really well. I thought we played really clean as a team, especially in the first half before we put the backups in. So that's really about as good as you can expect to play, and especially with so many new pieces.
You also got your defensive tackle, J.J. Pegues, in on the mix on the offense. What went into the play where he scored a touchdown?
Well, there was a 4th and long 2 there, and so, we went to him. We probably weren't going to use it, but, we need to. And then Coach Weiss got excited about it, so he called the same play again.
And then a lot of new pieces for you. What's your assessment of this team so far?
I think it's really good. I think the defense played really well. I mean, they're up through 3 quarters. They have minus 1 yard rushing, so it's been really pleasing.
All right, thanks, Coach Kiffin.
All right, guys, thanks.
I agree with Lane Kiffin's assessment there. Very balanced performance, both offense and defense showing up in a big way. Game 1 here.
I agree. It's any head coach, you want both sides of the ball to perform equally dominant in this case. And I'm wondering if some of the smoke,
the pyrotechnics
caused Brock Chapel to miss that ball.
You see that smoke coming off the field from the fireworks in between the 3rd and 4th quarter. There's been lots of fireworks tonight on the field. '73 points ties the most in the Lane Kiffin era. He told us this is by far the most talented team he's had in Oxford. They have showed it tonight. And in 1 half, Jackson Dart, 6 touchdowns, 418 yards. Did it in just a half. I know it's Furman, but I would think his Heisman odds are going down.
Yeah, I mean, I think, he's shown it last year. I think he's shown, this year, become more weapons. Juice Wells.
Injured Furman player will step aside. Ole Miss up 73 in the 4th quarter.
I don't have regrets. And maybe I would have at one point years ago, to where it's like, oh, I didn't appreciate him, or I didn't do everything I could, or didn't keep him involved. He was at work every day, and it wasn't like I wasn't appreciating him. I did know how special he was. I did know this unique touching of people, and I referred to him there like almost like a superhero that, like, everywhere he went, it was like, how can I help that person? And it's really, really special that I was able to be around that for that many years.
That was Lane Kiffin talking about his late father, Monty, on the Marty and McGee show. Monty, obviously a legendary football coach, passed away in July. He's been in Oxford with Lane since 2020, and that time that they shared and the impact he's had on Lane's life and this program, mean a lot to him headed into this football season for sure.
I mean, you call it, how special is that to coach with your dad, to have him there with you, a guy who's as experienced and as beloved as him. Look at that sticker too. That's very cool. Kiffin family, they can coach in football now, and Lane is sure starting this season off right.
Monty's other son and Lane's brother, Chris, joined the staff in 2024, so total family affair here in Oxford. Another injured Furman player, Jalen Tate, helped into the injury tent. And there is the Kiffin family.
Yeah. This guy, his son is a young quarterback, I believe in high school, you know, getting offers and stuff. Sure, it helps to have dad as coach, showing the ropes a little bit.
And his daughter's a sophomore here at Ole Miss. Rashad Amos into the game at running back, transfer from Miami, Ohio. And when that's your fourth running back, talented player, one of the best of the MAC last year, helped Miami win conference championship. And you get to put him in a 73-0 game, just speaks to the depth that they have built here in Oxford. Simmons continues to be super accurate. Norrell White with his first collegiate reception.
It's a great job of blitz pickup right there by Rashad Amos. Getting that blitzing outside linebacker, picking him up so Simmons could make a nice throw.
I know you want to get Simmons reps, Rocky, but you'd think you just want to run this clock.
Yeah, but you know, the other side of Simmons is probably saying, Coach, hey, I'm out here. Let me throw this ball around a little bit, work on my game.
And they are very high on Simmons. They think he has a big, big future here at Ole Miss once Jackson Dart's playing days are over after this season. And he'll head to the NFL.
Yeah, it was really the first errant throw I've seen out of Simmons. Yeah, you say my bad on that one. That was an uncharacteristic ball thrown by Simmons there.
What's a quarterback comparison you have for Dart? A guy maybe you played with, or a guy who's currently in the league?
No, he seems a little bit like kind of like Bo Nix, right? Where he's got the experience, but he's, I mean, deadly accurate. You know, sneaky good with his legs. You know, that kind of thing. That's the first one that comes to mind for me.
And Bo getting ready to start next weekend for the Denver Broncos.
Well, and look, it's the same thing. We keep coming back to it. Experience. Bo Nix had 61 career starts in college football, so he's ready to go. He's seen a lot of football, so he can come in early in his NFL career and make a start. Same thing for Jackson Dart. He's on his third year here at Ole Miss in the same scheme. He's seen and played a lot of football. That only helps, especially at that position. It's just so complex, more so now than it was 20 years ago, and you got to have the reps.
It's a good point, because sometimes you'll see a quarterback have 12 good games in college, and then he's a first-round pick. It doesn't work out a lot.
Trey Lance, right? I mean, fantastic, had all the tools, but didn't have enough game experience, and I think that hurt his development.
Field goal from 41 is good. Ole Miss up to 76 on the opener. Wow. Well, the pride of the South with a terrific halftime performance, and they've been loud and proud all night long here in Oxford. A lot to cheer about here in the season opener. Rocky Boyman, Jay Alter with you. We said it at the beginning of the game. A lot of preseason hype for this number 6 team in the nation entering the season. Maybe the biggest expectations Ole Miss has ever had before a ball has been kicked to start the season. And what's 76-0 going to do to those expectations, Rocky?
I think it's going to increase them, especially as we've been saying. Those additions they brought in the portal have made big plays. Walter Nolan made his appearance felt here tonight. Princely Monmielen did. And Chris Paul's made a bunch of plays. It's, Trey Amos. I mean, those guys they brought in have really shown up tonight.
And 76 points tonight ties the school record since 1936. Still got more than 11 minutes left in this game. And looking around at scores from around the nation, Notre Dame over on ABC, a 13-6 lead against Texas A&M.
That's good.
Hey, we've kind of got a rivalry on the crew. Our director Tyler's an A&M guy, and Rocky obviously played at Notre Dame.
Well, and Tyler knows how big of a game that is, because, I mean, for Notre Dame, you look at their schedule, they find a way to get that one. They're set up for some success now.
I mean, if they don't stub their toe, they almost punch their ticket tonight. As long as they take care of it, handle their business. This was, I think, the toughest game on the schedule.
I agree.
Especially week 1.
And you know, I think the other toughest game you look at is Florida State. And, you know, we saw what happened to them last week. I'm sure they're going to get better and be right in the conversation. But, of course, no matter what Notre Dame does, even if they went undefeated, there's no way they can get a first-round bye because they're not in a conference. Only the top conference winners get one of those first 4 byes.
When you look at the 12-team playoff, if I said over under 3.5 SEC teams.
Over.
Yeah.
Over, yeah.
So who you got?
I got Georgia. I got Ole Miss, of course. Those are the top 2. And you probably got to go. I mean, Bama, I think, will be in that conversation. Texas could be. You know, does Missouri?
Yeah.
They got a good team.
They got a really
back.
good team. I think LSU wants to say they're in the conversation.
Yeah, you forget about them. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned that A&M game going on right now on ABC. Mike Elko coaching against his former quarterback, Riley Leonard. That's funny.
Yeah, and you got to think Mike Elko knows every strength and every weakness of Riley Leonard. You know, and I mean, Notre Dame up 13-6, but he's held the Irish to just 13 points. It's not bad.
That game's airing on ABC, the SEC on ABC. 4 minutes left in it in the third quarter. You know, this is where it gets to college basketball a little bit, Rocky. If you're an SEC team, you're rooting for the SEC teams in non-conference play because that's going to strengthen the conference.
Strengthen the schedule. Yeah.
Strengthen the schedule. And when it gets to who's in, who's out on the bubble, they're going to look to that. How did the conference do in head-to-head matchups? And Notre Dame, Texas A&M is a good example of it. Jump ball down the sideline, knocked away, incomplete.
And just for Furman, obviously, this night didn't go the way they wanted, but they are going to be a very, very good FCS team. You know, they've got a new quarterback they're trotting out this year. Have to work through some kinks, but I think this is still a good roster. They'll compete in the FCS. And I just think it shows the dominance of Ole Miss more so than it does the status of Furman.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Furman makes the FCS playoff again.
Oh, yeah.
They made it each of the last 2 seasons. Lost a lot of seniors off the team last year that had one of their program's best years. And tall task going against to a highly motivated Ole Miss team with a ton of preseason hype, and they have proved it today. Another big hit. Trey Haddon, the true freshman's absorbed a bunch of big ones. Chris Hardy, the transfer from Jacksonville State. That is the 15th tackle for loss tonight.
D-line. Lane Kiffin talked about the length on the D-line, getting those taller, longer bodies, bigger bodies. Guys that are still quick, like Walter Nolan. I mean, and that's always the difference. I mean, today's football, Jay, you can find talented skill players. Obviously, there's some super elite guys, but there's talented skill players, wide receivers. There's those D linemen that look like Walter Nolan, that kind of type. Those don't grow on trees. There's very, very few of them, and they all seem to go to Georgia, Ohio State, and now Ole Miss.
Yeah, he was a 5-star coming out of IMG Academy. Special player. He's lived up to it tonight. So does this earn you a pledge pin? Look at that beer snake.
Beer cup snake,
yeah.
huh? I wonder how many cups are in that. That'd be a good trivia question.
Ooh, that would be a good trivia question.
I mean, it's hundreds.
And they're almost out of the stadium with that thing.
Is that like punishment for the new recruits kind of thing? They got to hold that deal the whole game?
Yeah, almost like a rookie hazing in the NFL.
Correct.
Yeah. Or I guess in college football, it's that freshman. You know, a lot of teams do that freshman talent show.
Yeah.
I know Ole Miss does that.
Yeah, we used to do that when I played in college, but I told you this yesterday. When I played, you didn't have to worry about somebody filming that and putting it on social media. There wasn't such a thing as a cell phone camera. Now you have to sing a goofy song or something. It's plastered all over the internet.
.722 total yards. Wow. Another big hole opens up. Dominique Thomas with his first carry. The Rockies, so much attention on the transfers. Maybe not enough respect given to the returning players that this Ole Miss team brings back from last year's 11-win season.
No, that's true. And they do bring back a lot of great ones. I mean, Trey Harris, how about the night he had? Kind of overshadowed by, because a lot of his production came early. He looks even better than he did last year. Caden Priest corner, of course.
Well, Trey Harris told me it was a hard decision at the end of last season on if he was going to come back to Ole Miss or enter the draft. But once he did make the decision to come back, he wanted to remind himself that he owes himself a lot this year. If you check out his Instagram, you'll see his pinned post is a saying, 2024 is very personal. I owe myself a lot. Trey says he feels there's a lot more he could have done last season, so this is his year to do everything he said he could.
He is well on his way. A terrific night tonight for Trey Harris. 2 touchdowns, 179 yards. And this is Walker Howard in at quarterback. Sophomore from Lafayette, Louisiana. Third and 5, they keep it on the ground, but a first down, Dominique Thomas. That's the thing, you keep subbing in these fresh players, and they want to prove that they can play too.
More great blocking up front. Jay, I think you could have ran through that hole. Maybe not, but Dominique Thomas doing a good job running downhill.
And in 3 minutes and 45 seconds, attention could officially turn to Middle Tennessee next week for Ole Miss, and then at Wake Forest after that. Georgia Southern finishes the non-conference slate, and then a gauntlet in the SEC highlighted by at LSU, and then Georgia here in Oxford on November 9th. You know, Ole Miss offensively didn't even have Jordan Watkins tonight, another talented wide receiver.
Yeah, Watkins been a little banged up. I guess all camp. He had 741 yards and 3 touchdowns last year. Just another weapon.
Play action. Going to let Howard throw it to the end zone on 3rd down, incomplete. Is Lane Kiffin going to go for this? Up 76?
Looks like it.
And passes incomplete, turnover on downs. You still want to execute, right? A 4th down play, no matter what the score is.
Yeah, absolutely. Just pains you as a coach to see poor execution.
He had a lot of great execution tonight.
He did. There's no doubt about it. Kind of has that Saban thing where it never looks, like he's super happy and, still,
well, he's trying to work on that. Trying to keep the fun, certainly with the players, finding times to incorporate fun. And
he's having fun. It's impossible to be a human being and look out in that field tonight, how your team performed and not have some fun, because they played very well.
He told us he felt like when he took the USC job, tried to be too serious, and then coordinator at Alabama, very serious. And really when he got to FAU, he said, we got to make fun a part of the culture, and he has done that here in Oxford. And as you said, how can you not have fun when you're up 76-0 in your home opener? 2-minute timeout. We step aside one final time here in Oxford. Two minutes remaining in the home opener here at Ole Miss, and that number 6 preseason ranking has looked pretty good. Good crowd here in Oxford, although that looks a little too young for the beer snake.
Practicing early. Some young fans still fired up.
Yeah.
About their team.
Hey, I mean, you've heard all offseason that this is the best Ole Miss team in program history. Could this be the team that wins the SEC for the first time in 61 years, and then you get to see them on the field for the first time and they look like this?
Yeah, celebrate, right? That's what it's all about.
You let up a first down run. Lane Kiffin, you wouldn't know by looking at him at 76-0 with a minute to go.
Still coaching all the way through. Frustrated.
I do think that's the winning mentality. I really do.
It is, because the minute you
call off
allow
the dogs,
sloppiness to be acceptable, that's when things go to hell.
So our our week started in Little Rock. Arkansas wins that game 70-0. Then we drive to Oxford, and 2 nights later, Rock at 76-0.
146 points of offense by two really good teams. Yeah. We're going to get Georgia next week.
They might put another 70 up.
See. I just feel like Kirby Smart's the kind of coach. He'll try to find a way to make that game as hard as possible on his team, so they have to dig deep a little bit. And,
yep.
You know, use that as a tool.
Now the headset can come off. Lane Kiffin, victory number 1 in the books to start the 2024 campaign. A year after they had a program record, 11 wins. They tie a program record with 76 points to open the biggest expectations coming into a season in 6 decades here in Oxford.
Yeah, they look like a complete team tonight, Jay. We talked about the additions in the portal. A lot of those guys showed up and made big impacts on the field. Jackson Dart in his 3rd year was absolutely out of his mind. And this looks like a football team that is poised to really do some damage. Big Walter Nolan making his presence felt. Nice plays behind the line of scrimmage tonight. He's going to be one of those difference makers. That, you know, big game against Georgia, they're going to call on him. There's Juice on the mend here tonight. Still looks happy about the win.
Let's go down to Ashley Stroline, who's standing by with Jackson Dart.
Well, Jackson, your first half performance tonight included 418 passing yards, 5 passing touchdowns, a rushing touchdown. What allowed you to perform that way tonight?
I think the biggest thing is I have great coaches and great teammates around me. Should have had another one, missed a little shallow route, but you know, there's always something to improve on. Looking forward to next week and continuing to build with these guys.
There was a big emphasis this offseason to upgrade the defense. You helped in recruiting those guys, didn't miss a dinner when you had visitors in town. Tonight, that defense gets a shutout. What can you say about their performance?
Yeah, they're awesome. We got monsters all across the field. They love playing with each other, and it's a lot of fun to watch them. And I feel like we were able to get the ball back really quickly this game, and you know, all credit goes to them putting up the big donut on the field.
And looking ahead, when you get back to practice, what are you going to focus on working on for next week?
I think the biggest thing is just consistency throughout the game. I feel like as a unit offensively, we kind of died off in the second half, and that should never happen regardless of who's in the game. So I think just consistency and continuing to build on our successes and continuing to grow our bond as a team.
Jackson, appreciate the time. Best of the luck.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
A historic night for Jackson Dart, who becomes the first quarterback to throw for 5 touchdowns and a half in an Ole Miss uniform. Even J.J. Pegues got into the end zone, the defensive tackle rumbling. It was all Rebels from kickoff. 76-0 your final. Ole Miss the most yards of the Lane Kiffin era with 772. For Rocky Boyman, Ashley Stroline, and our terrific crew, I'm Jay Alter saying so long from Oxford.